Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the NFC Championship game. The Green Bay Packers traveling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. And what heavy underdogs are the number 2 seed? 7.5-point underdogs against the number 1 seed. One of the biggest underdogs between a 1 and 2 seed since the 2007 New England Patriots. And I will say, what a crazy game this could be, as the Packers were absolutely decimated by the 49ers just a few weeks ago. Towards the end of the season, when the Packers were playing their best football, they got absolutely obliterated by the 49ers earlier in the season. And you gotta say, they're 7.5-point underdogs for a reason. But I will say, this is going to be an interesting game. The 49ers heavy favorites in this one. The 49ers defense has been the story so far. The Patriots have the number 1 defense. The San Francisco 49ers have the number 2 defense. Those were the last 2 remaining unbeaten teams before Seattle came along, ending that. San Francisco's only surprise loss was against the Atlanta Falcons, but the Packers have had some really weird losses this season, including against teams like the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, their decimation by the 49ers, it wasn't even close. The 49ers will start with the football, and they take it out to about the 24-yard line as Garoppolo makes his way onto the field. And the 49ers, they are the second favorite team in terms of making it to the Super Bowl. And their offense is averaging 395 yards. Or they had 395 yards against the Vikings last week and 193 yards allowed. That is the lowest of all the remaining teams in terms of defensive production. They only allowed Dalvin Cook 21 rushing yards. That's all they allowed against the Minnesota Vikings last week, and they had such a good team. And when I was talking about this last week, when we were simulating the game and Dalvin Cook had 292 rushing yards, I said, one of the things that I said in that game was that if San Francisco could stop Dalvin Cook, they had a very good chance at winning that game, and they stopped Dalvin Cook hardcore in that game last week, only allowing 21 yards rushing. And the Packers had 112 rushing yards last week. They like to try and rely on the run game to try and establish the deep passing downfield from Aaron Rodgers. So it's going to be very important for them to be able to actually run against this very good front four of the San Francisco 49ers. A running play here for San Fran, and he gets nowhere on that one. As we look at the Packers' defense, a vastly improved team. However, against Seattle, they allowed 387 yards. 277 passing and 110 rushing, so not exactly the most stellar performance defensively, as that game came down to the absolute wire before Seattle ended up losing the game in a very, very tight one, as the Packers defense has a 3rd and 7 upcoming, and San Francisco trying to avoid going 3 and out on the opening possession. As Garoppolo steps back looking, and he's got Kittle for almost a first down, 4th and 1 from the 34. Very, very close, but Adrian Amos makes the tackle right before the line to gain, and that is a player to watch out for, is Adrian Amos, but as well as George Kittle, who is just the absolutely crazy talent of just getting as many yards after the catch and just slugging off people, as a beautiful punt inside to the 1-yard line. What a beautiful punt from San Francisco. And wow, you could not have placed it any better than that, as San Francisco's defense will come out at the 1. An opportunity, to say the least, to stop Rodgers and the Packers from getting on the board first. As some terrific play this season from San Francisco, as they have made some good plays. As there is Sheldon Day, probably the best player on that defensive front, playing out of Notre Dame. Very, very talented lineman right there is Sheldon Day, for sure. As now Aaron Rodgers hands the ball off to the running back, who takes it for a chunk of yards to about the 5. And that's a good run there. That establishes a little bit there, as there's Nick Bosa for the San Francisco 49ers. He's been absolutely terrific this season. He has been, in my opinion, the rookie of the year this season is Nick Bosa. He's been absolutely incredible. As here comes San Francisco lining up. They hand it to the fullback. You don't see that very often in the NFL. And he picks up 5 as Vitale gets it for a 3rd and 2. As there is the rookie Greenlaw as well. Another good addition. This defense as well is very, very young. Sheldon Day, drafted a couple years ago. Nick Bosa was the number 2 pick in the draft last year. Greenlaw is a rookie. Sherman is only about 29, 30 years old. He's still got a lot of time left as a cornerback in this league, as Devontae Adams beats out Richard Sherman on that play. Sherman was playing a bit too off coverage on that one, but regardless, a good read there by Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to be a very, very good matchup, is Aaron Rodgers against the secondary. Outside of Richard Sherman, you've got to think that Rodgers has an advantage here, as he throws it, and he gets a pretty decent chunk of yards there. But the 49ers only allowed 172 yards passing last week and 21 rushing yards, as they held one of the most dynamic offenses in Minnesota to just 193 total yards of offense last week. And that is probably the story going into this game, is just how good the number 2 defense in the league is in the 49ers. I mean, you can make an argument that the number 1 with the way that they've been playing here at the end of the season and the way that the Patriots defense kind of ended up falling off a bit. But regardless, a very big matchup as they throw it out and he gets it to his, is that his wideout? No, that's his running back, right? Williams for 4 yards, as a nice little chunk of yards there for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 6. But speaking of that game earlier this season, that was just absolutely rough. 37-8. The Packers scored a touchdown and 2-point conversion in the 3rd quarter, and that was their only score. They held Aaron Rodgers to 104 passing yards and only 45 rushing yards. It was a complete blowout by San Francisco in San Francisco earlier this season, and the Packers were given 0 chance. However, the Packers have not lost a game since. So perhaps that is, it's funny actually that the Packers and the Chiefs going into this weekend, both of these games already happened earlier this season, and both times the team that lost did not lose a single game for the remainder of the season. The Packers and the Chiefs both went unbeaten following that loss, which means their last loss was this matchup. The difference is the 49ers are still the 1 seed, and there is almost picked off. I thought Richard Sherman had tipped it to their other, I believe their safety, as that was a pretty incredible play, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 10. But that was an incredible play, and I will say that, you know, going into this game, that the reason, again, why they're huge underdogs is the fact that they lost by 29 to the 49ers earlier this season, and the 49ers, you know, they lost another game, another 2 games actually, losing to the Falcons later on in the season as well. And you know, the 49ers had a pretty tough stretch there, but I will say that winning over the Packers in such a dominant manner makes it hard to see the Packers as, you know, opportunity. And Richard Sherman is on the ground injured, and that is bad news for the 49ers if he cannot continue to play. That's really, really rough for this team if Richard Sherman is out for any extended period of time, as he was down on, luckily already on the 49ers sidelines. So they just had to kind of take him out of play. But that is bad news for the 49ers if Richard Sherman goes down. Handing the ball off, and taken down is Williams for no gain. But I will say, you know, going into this game, the 49ers, heavy favorites. The Aaron Rodgers got a touchdown pass to Devontae Adams last time, and a 2-point conversion, and that was the only score of the game. It was all San Francisco all game long, and there's a brutal hit and a fumble, and it's recovered by the defense. And picking it up is Nick Bosa after a brutal hit, and the 49ers take over possession of the football. 1st and 10. Look at that hit. Oh, man. That was brutal, and the 49ers do recover the ball on that one, and that is not what you want to see if you're the Packers. Especially this early in the game. There is going to be a booth review, and the call is overturned. They'll say his knee was down before the ball came out. So Green Bay will keep possession on a 3rd down and 12, as there's Matt LaFleur standing over on the sideline. You know, he's had a very, very good season. It's hard to make an argument with the success that he's had. Stepping back is Rodgers. Throws over the middle, and he's got a man, and it's a caught touchdown, Devontae Adams. And just like that, the Packers are on the board first. And you got to wonder, though, it is very, very hard to beat the same team twice. You know, we saw it in the Kansas City game yesterday that we posted on the channel. The Kansas City Chiefs, you know, it was once again a very, very close game, just like it was in you know, when the Chiefs played the Titans earlier this year. Almost a very similar score, but the Chiefs, you know, what makes the Chiefs such a dynamic team is that they can build and thrive in these type of situations, and it's just it's going to be very interesting to see, you know, if these two teams, the 49ers and the Titans, can win against the same team twice. That is just not something that happens very often. And I will say this, if the Packers do win and the Chiefs do win, I'm excited to see what kind of Allstate commercials or State Farm commercials we're going to have, because I bet you they can make some funny stuff with Patty Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers in the finals. But regardless, San Francisco's back ready to return the kick. Their defense failed to stop Green Bay from getting in the end zone. And that is good news if you're Green Bay, because if you can establish yourself early, it's going to be very, very helpful going in later on in the game, because of just how tough the San Francisco team is to beat. As now the offense comes trotting back out onto the field. A big game last time for George Kittle. He had 129 yards receiving on 6 catches against the Packers in their last meeting. He was really a key factor in building this team, and he's been held to pretty much nothing by Green Bay. Only 10 yards of offense for San Francisco so far. Nice little juke move there on the run, and gets it to almost the 30 to the 29-yard line. So a 6-yard play by Breda, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 4. As San Francisco only 7 yards passing now, and just about 9 yards rushing the football. Here in the first quarter is about 7 minutes on the clock. Jimmy Garoppolo steps back, hands the ball off to Breda, who gets it past the first down marker to the 36-yard line. Last time, Mostert ended up getting 45 yards rushing and a touchdown on 6 carries for San Francisco. He was kind of leading the way. But I think the big defining moment was George Kittle's 61-yard touchdown pass from Jimmy Garoppolo, answering the Green Bay Packers touchdown in the third quarter almost immediately. It was about a minute difference between the Packers touchdown and the 49ers touchdown. And just to see that kind of response, if the 49ers can drive down the field and get in the end zone quickly here, that'd be a nice response that they can have going into the second quarter or so. This Breda is stuffed, and that'll be down at the 41 for 3rd and 5. So now it's a big 3rd down here for San Francisco, as they have about 5.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Stepping back is Garoppolo, throws, has a man, and he gets it past the 50 to the 49-yard line. And a nice play there by Bourne. As the 49ers have an opportunity here, as Garoppolo has been playing very, very well for San Fran. Under center is Garoppolo, offset eye. Hands the ball off and gets a yard is Breda. And that's going to bring up 2nd down and 9. Preston Smith on the tackle. And the Packers defense has been a shining light for this team, because it's been one of the things that this team has really wanted to improve upon over the last number of years. Aaron Rodgers hasn't had a defense for several years, and to see them play this well is definitely very helpful for Green Bay. As a nice little pass there, and the tackle push him past the 1st down marker to the 38. Garoppolo 4 for 4 from the field, as Emmanuel Sanders makes the catch for the 1st down. And I will say that this is a very big game. Obviously, the Super Bowl's on the line. Everybody knows it. But I think for Green Bay, this is a very, very big game, because I don't know if you're going to be in this situation again. Aaron Rodgers is not getting any younger. They've got a lot of defensive power, but you might lose some guys in free agency, and Green Bay, with the way that Aaron Rodgers has been playing in, the last 2 seasons, he's gotten injured, and that's really turned this team into a nosedive, at the end of the season. So Aaron Rodgers needs to be able to stay healthy, and you never know, especially with how old he's getting. But there's a nice handoff to Breda for a big chunk of yards and a 1st down, as San Francisco's offense is rolling right now. But if you're Green Bay, this is really not like towards the end of your time here. And to me, I don't know if Matt LaFleur has it in him. If Aaron Rodgers does go down with another injury, I don't think Matt LaFleur is a good enough coach to get this team to play quite as well as like when Brissett played for the Colts, or, when Tom Brady was out with suspensions or injuries. The Bill Belichick was a good enough coach to keep the team very competitive. I think if this team goes down, you're going to see an Indianapolis Colts with Andrew Luck situation, where Peyton Manning goes down and they only win 2 games. In my opinion, Aaron Rodgers is, he's got a few years left, but, I don't know how long he's going to be able to play at the top of the NFL ladder, and it's one of those things that's going to be very difficult to manage, especially, again, last 2 years he's gotten injured towards the second half of the season, and it's cost Green Bay a lot. As they hand the ball off to Breda for a 2nd and goal from the 2. But San Francisco, on the other hand, has an extremely young team. They're the number 2 defense in football, and most of their players on defense are very young, talented players that they got in the draft, or, with recent trades, or, they've been able to do some really, really great things with. And, Garoppolo is extremely young. He's got a lot of time left. San Francisco very well could be a team that could start winning some big, some Super Bowls and some major games. And I don't know. I mean, we could be seeing the beginning of the next dynasty in San Francisco, in my opinion. Like the way that this team has played this season, the youngness of their players, the way Shanahan has been able to coach this team this season, it's going to be hard to remain consistent. And I think next year is going to be a huge part in that. And with Garoppolo getting injured last season, how healthy can Garoppolo continue to be as a starting quarterback? There's a lot of questions still. But if this team can continue to produce, and the way that this team has been built, it's very, very, very good. It's very, very good. And honestly, if I'm San Francisco, I'd be kind of glad that Garoppolo got injured, because if he wasn't injured, you don't get the number 2 pick. You don't get Nick Bosa, who's been probably the best rookie of the entire thing, and probably will have the best career out of any rookie in that draft. You don't get him if Garoppolo doesn't go down to injury. And this team has just been so unbelievably good since getting Nick Bosa. And I think, a lot of people expected when Garoppolo got back for this team to be good. But just the way that this team has been built, you could see. I mean, I think the comparison is just considering the location. The Golden State Warriors. I don't think they'll be quite that dominant. It's really almost impossible to be that dominant, in the NFL. And it just, one thing goes wrong, and San Francisco loses this game to Green Bay, and Green Bay goes to the Super Bowl, But I think in terms of, I think it's a fair comparison in terms of them being at the top of the ladder. But I also think, Golden State got a lot of injuries. They are a very injury-prone team. And, the way that Garoppolo went down, the way that some of these players have gone out due to injury, Richard Sherman's already torn his ACL. But in this game, he's gone down due to injury. He's not even back in the game. He's still injured. Oh, no, he is in the game. My apologies. He is back into the game. But, there's still a lot of question marks. There's still a lot of things to be determined. But regardless, 7-3 Green Bay at the end of the first quarter. What an exciting game. At this point, the San Francisco 49ers are down by 4 against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And I will say, I mean, I expected San Francisco to play defense, but Green Bay, I thought, was going to allow a little bit more of big plays and more yards. But there's a running play, and that is going to be a big chunk of yards to about the 42 for 7 is Williams. As now Green Bay lines up 2nd down and 3. I think there's a lot of things to be excited about for San Francisco, but for Green Bay, this team is very, very talented and can make the playoffs. They can make the playoffs when Aaron Rodgers is healthy. But at this point, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy for much longer. They gave him a contract extension after his injury, I believe 2 years ago. It wasn't last year, was it? Regardless, he got injured, and they gave him a contract extension. And I don't know, I understand, as someone who is a fan of the New England Patriots, I understand where they're coming from. Because, if even though Tom Brady did not play well this year, he's been on the team for 20 years, This dude was drafted by our team. He was brought in. He was brought up under Drew Bledsoe. He won us all of our Super Bowls, all 6 of them. He has been with our team for so long that I don't really want to see him in another team's jersey. I understand if he goes, and I'm not going to be mad at him for it. I just don't, you don't want to see it. But the fact is, Aaron Rodgers has gotten injured many times over recent years, and I don't know how much it is worth it to continue to pay him as much as they have been paying him with him getting injured this frequently. And while the team has been playing good, you got to give a lot of credit to how they built the defense and how they've been running the football and the strategy going into this season. Aaron Rodgers has been able to take the pressure off of him. They've got some decent players on the offensive line. Obviously, Baccarati is absolutely incredible. But the Packers are reaching the end of their ropes. And for the Patriots, the situation is a little different because if they have Bill Belichick is probably the greatest coach of all time. You can make a very good argument. He can draft somebody. He can work his system. He can get them into a very good position where they can be successful. And we saw it with when Ryan Mallett was playing with the Patriots. You know, when Tom Brady was injured in 2008, the Patriots were still competitive with the best teams. When Green Bay gets in a bad situation, can Matt LaFleur make any sort of big, monster decisions and be able to bring his team into the competitive light without Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. I don't think so, in my opinion. I think he's been listening to Aaron Rodgers. He's been letting Aaron Rodgers make decisions for him, and he's been reaping the benefits from it. I can't really tell. It's hard to tell when you don't know if Aaron Rodgers is changing the play calling or, what he's doing exactly. But that's just my opinion. Now, I don't know. I think these two teams are going in very opposite directions. I think San Francisco is looking to be one of the best teams in the next decade, I think San Francisco is a team that can win 2 or 3 Super Bowls in the next 10 years. I think they could be that good. They need to stay healthy. Shanahan needs to continue to coach at a high level, as you can see him there. They got the first down, so that's always good. I apologize, I'm not calling play-by-play, but I think that this team has significant amount of talent. Now, I think the hardest part is going to be salary cap. How are you going to pay all of these players? You got Nick Bosa. You've got Greenlaw, who's been playing outstanding at linebacker. You got Richard Sherman. You've got Garoppolo. You got Emmanuel Sanders. You've got George Kittle. You got so many players on this team. It's going to be very difficult to pay them all the big bucks when the time comes. And I think that's going to be the most difficult part, is keeping this team together for 10 years. And that's what makes the Patriots so amazing, is that they don't need to stick their team together. They've had a bunch of different players come and go over the last, 2 decades, and yet they've still won 6 Super Bowls and been to 9. That's incredible. They've been to almost half of the Super Bowls in the last 20 years. That's just insane to me. You're never going to see that. You're very likely never going to see something like that ever again in the history of football. But I think if there's any team that can, go and play at the level and be, one of the best teams in the league consistently, San Francisco is definitely going to be that team. And I think Kansas City as well. I think that team is very, very talented. And they've been able to work it. The problem is, of course, Andy Reid. I don't know how much longer he's going to be a coach. There's been multiple times where he contemplated retirement. It's going to be a big question mark on whether or not Andy Reid can continue to coach there. And I think getting a new coach could be very interesting. I don't think it's necessarily detrimental the way Patty Mahomes plays, but irregardless. That's a big play by Breda, as that's going to give San Francisco the 1st and 10. As so far, San Francisco finally getting into Packers territory. As they hand the ball off. No, they fake it to Breda, and then he throws, and he's got a man inside to about the 20-yard line. As Garoppolo gets it to Bourne for a first down at the 20. I will say Levi Stadium is an absolutely gorgeous stadium. It's brilliant, looks fantastic, and is exactly what you want to see. As they hand the ball off once again to Breda, as they take him down at the 21 for a loss of a yard. But I don't know. In our simulation yesterday, the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, will play the winner of this game, and I think, they are the favorites. They're the favorites to make it. Last week we went 3 for 4 on predictions, and That very well could be a correct one. I think it very well might. I don't know if it will be as close as our simulation was. Our simulation was extremely close. It was a very, very close game. If you guys missed it, honestly, I'd recommend watching it. Even if you just watch the fourth quarter, the game really came down to the wire with some pretty, really cool stuff. I will say, though, if that happens in real life, Kansas City might want to double-check their special teams coordinator's contract because it might need to be terminated. But that's neither here nor there. As Garoppolo goes, and it's intercepted. Oh, and he didn't get both feet in bounds. And that's going to bring up 4th down and 10, as that could have been a huge turnover. As you watch this play, he throws it, and a big step. I think he got 1 foot down, but not both. And that's going to force a 4th down, as a big play there by Green Bay's defense is going to give San Francisco the kick at about a 37-yarder. And that is going to be up and through the uprights. And it's a 1-point game. So San Francisco's offense not been able to get into the end zone yet. And I think that's probably the biggest downside to this team is their offensive production. But that's not really a big downside because they can score points. Obviously, they scored 37 against the Packers last time these two teams met. You know, they average a pretty decent chunk of points. You know, 23.5. That's middle of the pack, 15th in points for. They average 19.6 points against. You know, they're middle of the pack in terms of offense. 17th in passing, 15th in rushing, 15th in points for. But their defense is what really puts that over the top. And I mean, really, if you think about it this way, you know, there's like when the Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl. The very first time the Ravens won the Super Bowl, they had by far the best defense in the league, one of the best defenses of all time, and they had one of the worst offenses that really did not get a lot of production. They weren't a very good offensive team. They didn't have a lot of offensive production all the way back in the early 2000s, or the 90s? The 90s. But regardless, you know, this is... Was it? No, it wasn't that long ago. Super Bowl 37? 27? 27? $35. I'm bad. 2001. Okay. Oh wait. No, that's not 2001. The fuck? Oh no, it was. Wow. 2001. So this is a while ago, obviously, but that's the thing about like when the Ravens won the Super Bowl. I apologize profusely for my inept abilities here sometimes. But in terms of comparison for the 49ers, obviously their defense isn't as crazy good as the Ravens, but their offense is better than the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl against the Giants in Super Bowl 35. And I will say, you know, it's one of those things where when you're looking at, and that was a terrific pass, by the way, by Aaron Rodgers over to Lazard, but I feel like it's a fair comparison. The way that this team has been playing, you know, they have the number 2 defense in the league in terms of statistics at the end of the season. You can make an argument they had the best due to, you know, strength of schedule and whatnot. But irregardless, they had a top-tier defense. They had a middle-of-the-road offense. And I think, really, if you have a top-tier defense, you don't even necessarily need much of an offense. Obviously, the Ravens didn't have too much of one. When you're talking about the year that they beat the Giants in the Super Bowl. But it's just, it reminds me a lot about it, you know. You see a lot of very good players at the line. You've got, you know, Richard Sherman as a good defensive back. You've got a pretty decent offense. It's been very interesting, and I think that, you know, this team going into the future could be, you might want to get used to seeing San Francisco's logo here as the host of the NFC title game for the years to come. But who knows? They're in a tough division. If Kyler Murray and Arizona continue to play well, if they start climbing up the ranks, if Seattle, obviously Seattle is just a tough team pretty much all the time. You know, obviously the Rams are still there. They went to the Super Bowl last year. You know, they've got a lot of problems on that team, but you never know. They're always a tough team to face off against. So you got to keep your eye on LA. You know, there's a lot of question marks, and they with how difficult the division can be at times, it's going to be interesting. But Green Bay, 2nd down and 3. Aaron Rodgers is feeling it. They're inside the 25-yard line, and it's bad news if they get in the end zone for San Fran as he breaks a tackle, but he can't quite make the first down as he is stopped just shy of the first down marker, and that's going to bring up 3rd down and 1. As now here comes Rodgers in the shotgun. Stepping back, has time, looking, throws to his receiver who catches it for a first down just inside the 20. No, they call that 4th and inches. Wow. I did not, it looked like he was past the line to me. He caught the ball. The ball was probably at the 19, but they call him down by contact with 4th and inches. Oh, no, they changed the ruling. They reviewed it, and they did give Green Bay the first down. And so Green Bay will get the first down and 10. So that's a big overturned call there in Green Bay's favor. And that's going to get us to the 2-minute warning. 7-6 Green Bay in a very defensive showdown between the two best teams in the entire league. And, well, the entire NFC, my apologies.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field is reversed.
So the Packers are 7.5-point underdogs in this game. But despite that, they're fighting hard. And there's a big pass there to Adams inside to the 5-yard line, 1st and goal. But Aaron Rodgers has been at least a touchdown underdog 4 times in his career. The 2018 game against the LA Rams, he was 7.5-point underdogs. The 2015 divisional round game against Arizona, he was 7. And the 2014 NFC Championship game at Seattle, he was 8.5. And every single one of those he lost. So it should be interesting to see, but there's a big play there and a huge touchdown. That's a touchdown for Green Bay, and that's going to bring it up 13-6. And the extra point here can give them an 8-point lead with 1.5 minutes in the second quarter. And indeed it does. So 14-6. But it is worth it to note that Aaron Rodgers has never won a game in his entire career that he has been at least a touchdown underdogs. So 2018 at the Rams during the regular season is the only regular season game he was at least a touchdown underdogs. 2015 against Arizona and 2017 against Seattle. All of those games were away. This game is also away. He's also 7.5-point underdogs, which is tied for the second biggest underdog Aaron Rodgers has been in his career. So it is definitely fascinating to see, if that holds true. He has never won a game where he has been a touchdown underdog. He's had 191 starts at quarterback. And, in the simulation so far, he's 8 points ahead of San Fran. So he's flipped that 7.5-point underdogs and put it on the 49ers to try and get out of. With 1:28 to go in the second quarter. There's still plenty of time. San Francisco is a dangerous football team. George Kittle can make some big plays. Emmanuel Sanders and some of these wideouts can be very, very talented and make some fantastic moves, but it should be interesting to see as Jimmy Garoppolo in the shotgun. Stepping back, has time. Good blocking. Throws out of bounds. So great defensive coverage there. Forces Garoppolo to throw it before he wants to. And that one is going to be incomplete. Handing the ball off to Breda, who breaks it or does a nice little move there to get about 5. Has a timeout called by San Francisco with 1 minute and 1 second to go. I will say, if you look at this draft class from San Fran, it's very fascinating. You know, Nick Bosa obviously has been absolutely incredible. Deebo Samuel has been playing very good at wide receiver this year. And, of course, Dre Greenlaw, the 5th-round pick out of Arkansas, earned a starting spot after being a 5th-round pick, and he's been playing well. There's a big incomplete pass, a great defensive effort there to break up the pass, and that's going to bring up 4th down and 5. And San Francisco did get absolutely blown out in our game against Minnesota last week, so it's fascinating to see if they can actually pull off the win, because they haven't been able to do it in my simulations to this point. They're the only team left that hasn't, as the kick is deep. And he takes it to about the 34 with 47 seconds. That is plenty of time. And the king of Hail Mary, Aaron Rodgers, comes out onto the field. And if there's anyone who can make this a double-digit lead before halftime, it's the king of the Hail Mary, Aaron Rodgers. As he's in the shotgun here. And now, stepping back is Rodgers. Throws, and he's got a man, and he's inside the 30, and down to the 26. Timeout by Green Bay with 40 seconds, and they can make a couple shots at the end zone here. Well, what did I tell you? The king of the Hail Mary is also one of the best deep throwers in the entire game. You can't get much better throwing the ball deep than Aaron Rodgers, and he made a terrific play to the tight end Jimmy Graham on that one. And that's going to give him the ball at the 26, just about at the 25. Stepping back is Rodgers. Throwing. And it's dropped. Good defensive play there by Witherspoon. And that's going to bring up 2nd and 10. As San Francisco is in a tough spot here. They need to try and avoid the touchdown. As Aaron Rodgers in the shotgun. Stepping back. Looking, has time. Throws. And he's got a man inside the 10. Down to the 6 and another timeout. With 30 seconds to tick off the clock. And they're inside the 10 to the 6 with 30 seconds. And they will have probably all 4 chances at the end zone here. Unless they run the football. Which they very well could. They do have 1 timeout remaining. This is the worst case scenario for the 49ers. This is exactly what you don't want to do if you're San Fran. As Aaron Rodgers throws, and he's got a man, it's Adams, touchdown. And Green Bay will go into the locker room pending any craziness, up 21-6. This is a massive lead for Green Bay. San Fran obviously is a very, very talented team, and they have a lot of, offensive power, but I don't know if they have enough not to get through this lead. They can get through this lead, but I don't know if they have enough to challenge Green Bay. If San Francisco's defense cannot stop Aaron Rodgers throwing the football to his receivers, especially Davante Adams, it's going to be a long day for San Francisco, because if Davante Adams gets open a lot, Jimmy Graham, I don't see how, even if they have such a talented front four, you know, if they can't stop the pass, it's going to be very difficult for San Fran to get back into this game. But it's 21-6 Green Bay, an opportunity to face Patty Mahomes. And I tell you what, maybe it's destiny that the State Farm commercials will be a prediction of the Super Bowl. What would you think? Would the Super Bowl be rigged? Is State Farm paying for the... Sorry, my microphone was cut off. Obviously, this is a completely legitimate thing, that there is no possible way that there is any sort of, you know, payment being made by State Farm to the NFL for these two teams to make it to the Super Bowl. Absolutely none. I will say, though, the commercials would be fantastic. Anyway, Garoppolo under center with 21 seconds. Will he just hand the ball off and go into the locker room? It looks like he will, as the gets tackled, about a yard loss there. And that is probably going to take us into the locker room at halftime. So 21-6. And who would have thought, you know, the 7.5-point underdog Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers has never won a game in which he's been a touchdown or greater underdogs in his career. And to see him be able to do that, you know, 7.5-point underdogs, and he's got currently a monstrous lead of 15 points. You know, that's pretty crazy. You know, Green Bay lost Clay Matthews to Oakland, and they replaced him with a very good Zadarius Smith. You can't really blame him there. But this team has just gotten so much better defensively that it's just going to be very interesting to see if San Francisco can make the plays that they need to get back into this game down 15. But Aaron Rodgers gets the ball first in the second half, and another touchdown here could put this game away for Green Bay. I don't know if San Francisco's down by 22, that's probably enough. I don't think they have the offensive firepower to make anything happen, but there's a good play and a sack by Buckner, his second of the game. As a big old Buckner gets in, and terrific play. They blitz everyone here. 6 guys coming after the quarterback, and amazing coverage, by the way. It's not easy to play that good of coverage when you're blitzing that many people, but they're able to do it. And a great defensive stop there loses him a yard, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 17. So a good start. You know, this is the start San Francisco needed to start in the second half. They needed to come out firing on all cylinders, get Aaron Rodgers under pressure, and make some good defensive plays. And they have done that so far to try and get themselves back into the game. Aaron Rodgers faking the handoff. Looking, has time, throws. He's got a man, and he caught it. What a catch. He did like a corkscrew. It's not enough for the first down, but holy goodness, that catch was absolutely insane. Let's watch it again as he throws it. He catches it, spins, gets a knee down, which counts as 2 feet. So that does count as a catch. And just look at that catch. Wow. That was phenomenal. And he gets his foot down and lands right in front of Kyle Shanahan. Regardless, it will be a 4th down, but that one will go on the highlight reel for sure, especially if Green Bay wins this game, because that was just absolutely phenomenal. What a catch. And a punt here by Green Bay, and it goes out of bounds at the 28. So not the best punt in the world, but considering there was no run back, it's not too terrible. As Telvin Coleman, 5 rushes for 24 yards, hasn't been very loud, but he is the backup running back, so that's not too surprising to see him not get that many touches, as Breda has been the main workhorse running the football. But San Francisco hasn't scored a touchdown in this game, and it's going to be very interesting to see if they can finally get something going in this one. Stepping back is Garoppolo, looking, throws, has a man, he's open, and he's out past midfield. just inside midfield. They'll officially mark him down at midfield, but just a couple inches past the midfield marker on Green Bay's side of the field. So a beautiful play. That was a terrific play call as he gets it right where it needs to be. And yeah, that one will be just inside, almost to the 49. In fact, I'd probably rate that closer to the 49 than the 50. But regardless, he run the football with Breda, and he gets a few yards. Or Coleman, that's Coleman, my apologies. It's hard to tell some of the numbers, and I put the names on under the broadcast mode, but they don't actually show up when you're not either team, so it won't show me. But setting up in the shotgun is, of course, Jimmy Garoppolo, and they hand the ball off. He gets a few, and that's Coleman again, so another decent play there, and that's 2 plays for 8 yards for Coleman, as Garoppolo setting up his troops, trying to get players ready and raring to go as he sets up in the shotgun formation. Single backfield with him. Under 10 to go on the play clock. And they hand the ball off to Coleman, who is stopped short of the first down marker. And that's going to be a 4th and 2. Adrian Amos with the tackle. And he has been terrific for Green Bay since coming over with the Bears. I'm sure the Bears miss him after their 8-8 season. And it's 4th down, and they're going to go for it. Down by 15, you can't really blame them for going for it here. Garoppolo sets, throws, and he's got Kittle first down. And they get it on 4th down, and that's going to be a big first down for San Fran. A very good call, a very good call, a very good play. I was surprised to see it, especially in this game, but they do get it, and that is a phenomenal play call on 4th down, and Green Bay wasn't quite expecting what the 49ers were giving them. And a big play there by Breda gets it inside the 25 to the 23. And that's a big run there by Breda, putting him over 50 yards rushing on the day. Yeah, San Francisco really needs to run the football. The Packers did such an amazing job. The 49ers do an amazing job against the run, but the Packers have been doing an amazing job this game against the run to this point. But there, another decent play. He picks up about 6, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 5 officially. Officially a 5-yard gain, but very, very close. As that's going to bring up 2nd and 5 now for San Francisco. They need to get in the end zone here to put this game back into reason. They hand the ball again with Breda, and he gets a yard. Officially 2 yards, I guess. 3rd and 3. 3rd down, 3 yards to go. And that's going to be a big play here for San Fran. They need to try and get this. Sending their receiver in motion. Stepping back is Garoppolo. Throws. He's got a man inside the 10 to the 5, the 3-yard line. And that's a huge play for Bourne. His 4th catch of the game. 1st down and goal. Amos makes his 6th tackle. He's had to be all over the field today, but what a play, and they will get a big 1st and goal here for San Francisco. Single backfield. They hand the ball off, and he's stuffed. A yard loss. Good defensive effort there by Green Bay as Smith takes him down. Preston Smith, obviously, a very talented football player for the Green Bay Packers, and he's been playing pretty well in this game. Look at that spin move on the tight end trying to block him. As a single backfield is Garoppolo under center. They hand the ball off, and this time it goes for a big chunk inside to the 1. Goes Breda, 3rd and goal. After a 4th down attempt and a big 3rd down conversion, they need to get in the end zone here. They cannot have gone all this way for their 3rd field goal. They cannot take that. If they were smart here, I'd go for a slant on the wide out. And they hand it all, and they do in fact get it. So that is a big touchdown. They ran it in twice, didn't get it, but the third time is the charm as Breda gets in. Touchdown, San Francisco. Look at that blocking. Absolutely terrific blocking on that turnaround. And San Francisco gets their first touchdown on the board. And with pending the extra point, it could be an 8-point game unless they try to go for 2 now, which they do not. So they will kick the extra point to make it an 8-point game. And there it is, and it's good. So 8 points separate these two teams, 6:20 to go third quarter, and this is a game again as a monstrous game between these two teams and San Francisco, and as Matt LaFleur goes to talk to his defense and Aaron Rodgers warming up. He's got a big opportunity here. All of a sudden, Matt LaFleur's not on the bench. That's weird as heck. That was a very fast conversation with his linebacker, so I guess he didn't really care too much about that one. As kicking it away here is San Francisco. They've got an 8-point deficit to overcome, but they have about 21 minutes on the clock in this one, so plenty of time to really make something happen as the kickoff is up and away and taken at the goal line for Green Bay. And he's tackled out about the 26-yard line as a decent play there. And Aaron Rodgers will come right back out onto the field. It's been a pretty crazy game that we thought that Green Bay could be big ahead in this one, but a fumble inside the red zone earlier, stopped this from being 28 points. And now it's only an 8-point game as a big defensive play there. Oh, that was a good attempt by Rodgers to get it to Adams, but both of the outside linebackers that came on the blitz on the outside, obviously they're outside linebackers, but regardless, they came in on the outside and they both just dominated the linemen blocking them as it's 2nd down and 10. Rodgers stepping up, fakes the draw, has time, he's going to run, and the old man running for 8 yards, and I thought for a second he was going to get blasted by that defensive back coming in at the last moment, but he gets 8 there, and that's a big first down for Aaron Rodgers. You know he can make those plays sometimes, but the old man picks up 8. Aaron Rodgers in the I formation. Looks like they're going to run, but are they? That is the question. Sending the tight end in motion. He goes, and they do run to the outside, and he picks up plenty, and that's about 7 for a first down as Williams gets only his 5th rushing attempt for 21 yards, but he picks up about 7 there, which is about 1/3 of his total yards in this game. As the Packers have been pretty pass-heavy, they're usually a lot more balanced, but they've been relying a little bit on Aaron Rodgers. He's been playing well, so no need to worry as he's hit as he throws, and it is complete to his wideout. And a good play there for Rodgers as that's a first down. As he's hit right there, he throws it, and he gets it to Allison for a first down. That's a really solid play from Aaron Rodgers, and what do you expect from this guy? He's absolutely fantastic. Stepping back, throws, and almost intercepted. It probably should have been, but it falls innocently to the ground, and that's going to bring up 2nd down and 10 with about 4:08 to go in the third quarter at the moment. Shotgun here for Rodgers. And they hand the ball off, and a nice little broken tackle. He gets it to about the 39 for a decent chunk. About 7 there. 3rd and 3. That was a very, very good running play, and that's what the Packers need to do is they need to run the football, they need to establish it, or they can go into empty on 3rd and 3 and just chuck the ball all over the field. Looking as Rodgers has time, throws, he's got a man, it's Jimmy Graham, and he gets it to the 23-yard line on that one. I think that spot was a little favorable, but regardless, 1st and 10 for Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers in empty again. Interesting play decisions. Rodgers has time, throws. He's got a receiver for a yard, and that's Jimmy Graham again. Jimmy Graham's 6th catch for 86 yards, and they count it as a gain of 2 here. As now Aaron Rodgers in the shotgun. Throws. He's got a man for a no gain. 3rd down and 8. That was a nice little drag route, but they defended it well, and Greenlaw makes the tackle. The rookie 5th-round pick out of Arkansas. He's been playing very, very well this season and earned the starting job at outside linebacker. Something they definitely needed. Stepping back is Rodgers. Throws. Has a man. And he gets the 1st down. This is a huge drive if Green Bay gets a touchdown or even a field goal, because that puts this game in a 2-possession lead for Green Bay as the clock is almost at the 4th quarter start. Less than a minute and a half to go in this 3rd quarter. And a 2-possession game would make this very difficult, especially if the 49ers can't seem to stop Green Bay's offense. As Jones picks up about 4 there, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 6. Under 1 minute to go, 3rd quarter for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, leading by 8, 21-13, and this one to this point. Aaron Rodgers in the shotgun with a single backfield with him. Steps back. He's looking to throw. He throws. He's got a man, and he gets it just about to the... Oh, they count it at the 6. Wow, that is bad spot for Green Bay. He caught it at about the 2, but because he tried to break the tackle and moved forward, if we watch this play, he's tackled there, but look how he moves forward. He broke the tackle and tried to move forward, so that resets his forward progress. So that is a big-time mistake there by Green Bay. If he just went down to the ground, it would have been inches away from the 1st down marker. But instead, it's 3rd and 4. Stepping back is Rodgers. Has a chance. Throws. He's got a man. It's Adams' touchdown. And Adams beats Sherman on the inside, and we've said that a lot. That's his 3rd touchdown catch. And Richard Sherman has been getting beat all game long from Adams. That was just a beautiful a post-in route, and it was just done to perfection. And there it is, 28-13, Green Bay holds the 15-point lead, and this is very well could be the last play of the 3rd quarter on this kickoff. As Kyle Shanahan trying to talk to his linebacker. And an opportunity here as the 49ers could very well be in big trouble on the road. As Green Bay looks to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl against Kansas City. Both Green Bay and San Francisco, very successful franchises. Lots of world championships, lots of Super Bowl rings. And San Francisco could be trying to get their 6th Super Bowl title if they can win this game and tie the Patriots and Steelers for the most. As he takes it back to about the 25-yard line to end the 3rd quarter. But they are down by 15. As you can see, the box score, the 2nd quarter was just brutal for San Francisco. They weren't able to get almost anything going. And now it's back here to start the game. as the Packers looking for their 5th world title, and the Chiefs hold on in the shotgun. Garoppolo stepping back, has time, looking, and he got it, but he was just shy. The Kansas City Chiefs only looking for their 2nd Super Bowl title, their first since Super Bowl 4, which this is interesting. That was exactly, well, not exactly, but 50 years ago. So the Chiefs are looking for their first Super Bowl win in 50 years when they defeated the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 4. They've also won 3 AFL titles. But right now, the Super Bowl titles are the ones to get. And there is a big pass from Garoppolo for a first down. So out of all the teams that are remaining, the Chiefs obviously looking for their 2nd Super Bowl title in franchise history, their 1st in 50 years. The Titans looking for their 1st Super Bowl title in general. The Packers are looking for their 5th Super Bowl, and the 49ers are looking for their 6th Super Bowl to tie the Steelers and Patriots for the most all time. Looking as Garoppolo throws it, and he's got a man. Broken tackle inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. And that is a big first down for Emmanuel Sanders. Have you guys watched my my Tim Tebow Face of the Franchise mode? Emmanuel Sanders used to play for the Denver Broncos, and he led. He was a very good target for Tim Tebow in that series. He was very, very. He helped me out a lot when I was playing through that series of games. And that is a big-time first down. But unfortunately, it's squandered a little bit with the false start penalty after the Sanders catch. So that's going to set him back to the 22 on 1st and 15. They need to get to the 7 for a first down. Looking, throws Garoppolo. He's got a man, but it's out of bounds. Goes Kittle. As it is down at the 22 for 2nd down. Stepping up is Garoppolo. Looking, throws. He's got a man, and he gets it to about the 10-yard line. Setting up in the shotgun, 3rd and 3. Garoppolo looking, has time, throws. He's got a man, and it's inside the 5. And he's got it. Touchdown. Or inside the 5. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. My sincerest apologies. I got oddly distracted. As the I formation is set for the 49ers. They hand the ball off, and Breda takes it back to the line of scrimmage for no gain. I apologize for a couple of errors that I've made in this game so far. You know, I like to keep these commentaries live as I'm watching the game. It takes a lot shorter, and you know, real commentators do the game live, and a lot of the time, they mess up or make mistakes. And, I'm the same way. I feel like, though, I can give better commentary than Booger can. So I think that's a plus in my book, because Breda gets into the end zone and the 49ers get back onto the board. So there's still 10 minutes to go. Still plenty of time to really make something happen. As it is a 9-point game. Will they go for 2 now? No, they won't. I don't know if that's the smartest decision to not go for 2 now, but regardless, they kick the extra point, and it's an 8-point game with 10 minutes to go. So the 49ers looking to try and make something happen here. They need a defensive stop. That would be very helpful for this football team if they were able to do it. All right, here comes the kickoff. And here we go. Looking, has time. And he's able to return it to about the 25-yard line where he would have been if they let the ball bounce. As here comes the Green Bay Packers offense. This is a big drive, because if Green Bay can score even a field goal, they very well could seal the deal on this game. So this is a very, very big possession for both of these teams, and I really think San Francisco needs to stop them here in order to tie the game up. They allow any points, and it could be bad news bears for them as they get it to the 33. So not a good start for the drive, for sure. I formation now for Green Bay. Fakes the handoff. Throws back to the running back, and Richard Sherman takes him down. I think he lost a yard. Yeah, he did. So 3rd down and 3 for the Packers. It's a big 3rd down here. I think you definitely want to be able to stop Green Bay from getting this 1st down. Get the ball back, try and score, and get the ball into the end zone. And get the 2-point conversion, because if you miss the 2-point conversion, you're going to need to score again. So you absolutely want to score as quickly as possible. And there is good defensive effort there by the corner, and that's going to be incomplete. 4th down upcoming, and the 49ers will get the ball back. An 8-point lead for Green Bay. That one was almost intercepted. It was a very dangerous play, as the Packers looking to punt the football here. And the ball bounces at the 3. So a phenomenal punt there, and Green Bay's punter has done that earlier in this game as well, but a phenomenal punt, and that's going to be just absolutely terrific. And there is a decent pickup, and he gets it to about the 11-yard line for 8 on that play.
Here we go.
Handing the ball off. And he picks up a yard there, but still shy of the 1st down marker, 3rd and 1. This is going to be a pretty incredible end of the game for sure, as these two teams try and slug it out. But this is a big 3rd and 1 here. They need to get the first down. 7:14 and counting in the game. They hand the ball off, and he's stuffed behind the line. A loss of a yard for Coleman. I think they're going to kick the ball here. But what do? I mean, you're at the 11-yard line. It's 4th down and 1. You're too close to your own end zone. But if the Packers score points, they win the game. At this point, with 6.5. And there's a juke move, and he gets it past the 45 to the 49-yard line. The Packers just need about 15 to 20 yards to get in field goal range, as Davante Adams, 7 catches, exactly 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has been almost unstoppable when he's caught the ball. Wow. In the shotgun, Aaron Rodgers looking, throws. He got Adams. First down. Green Bay gets another first. Oh, no, that's counted as a 2nd and inches. My apologies. Oh, sorry, that was Lazard as well. It's hard to see sometimes with the jersey numbers. It looked like a 17 to me, but irregardless. Stepping back is Rodgers. Looking, throws. Gets it to Jimmy Graham, the tight end, and he gets it for about 6. First down. And just like that, it would be a long one, but they could probably kick the field goal from here. Their kicker has just been absolutely terrific. Well, an incomplete pass there. That's going to bring up 2nd down and 10. 5 minutes and 13 seconds are stuck on the clock after the incomplete pass, as Aaron Rodgers has a single backfield. D Ford with the tackle, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 7. An opportunity here. Aaron Rodgers in the shotgun. Hikes the ball, throws. He's got a man. It's open inside the 5 to the 2. Lazard catches it again for 30. First down and goal, Green Bay, and that puts Lazard over 100 yards receiving on the game. And with 4.5 minutes on the clock, the Green Bay Packers just need to kick a field goal, and they can put this game pretty much out of reach. A beautiful fake handoff, and what should have been caught for a touchdown is incomplete. So San Francisco will have another opportunity. They need a turnover here if they want to have a shot at winning this game, or at least stop them from kicking the field goal with a block or something. And a touchdown would really put this game out of reach. They hand the ball off, and stuffed at the line is Jones. And that's going to bring up a 3rd down as Al-Shaair gets the tackle. And now Aaron Rodgers bringing the troops to the line, hoping to make it to the Super Bowl for just the 2nd time in his career. The last time he made it, he was the 6th seed and upset the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's a nice stop by San Francisco down at the 4, bringing up 4th and goal as the clock ticks under 3.5 minutes to play in the game. But with this kick, it would be an 11-point game, which would be almost impossible to come back from without some sort of huge mental mistake by Green Bay. And no block. It's good. Mason Crosby puts it through the uprights, and San Francisco's down by 11 to the Green Bay Packers at home. This is going very, very differently than the last time these two teams played each other. I was impressed. The Titans game was very, very close to how it played out the first time those two teams played each other earlier this season. But these two teams, Green Bay's been able to make some productive plays on offense, and I think everyone expects Green Bay to do better than they did last time. No one expects them to lose by 29, but at the same time, you know, they've got to go out there and play their best. There's a big stop there at the 28. San Francisco needs to get down the field and score as soon as humanly possible. In fact, they want to try and do it before the 2-minute warning because they cannot use their timeouts. And you know, especially with how this game works, if the 2-minute warning happens, they will start using their timeouts, which means they won't be able to get the ball back and they will just lose the game by default. So with 11-point deficit, what they should honestly do is if they can get into field goal range, just kick the field goal and try and stop them on defense, because regardless, you're going to need a field goal to tie the game. You're going to need a field goal and a 2-point conversion after a touchdown to get these 11 points back as Bourne makes the catch and time ticks under 3 minutes, under 2:50. Time continuing to tick away in this one. San Francisco's sense of urgency is not super there. And that is a false start on the offense. And that's not exactly what you want to see if you're San Francisco. And now in the shotgun. Stepping back is Garoppolo. Looking, throws, and it's tipped away. A phenomenal play there. And that one is incomplete. So terrific play, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10. A very, very important play here for San Francisco. Stepping back is Garoppolo. Throws. He's got a man, and he can't get his feet down in bounds. 4th and 10. And this is the ball game certainly right here. I mean, I think San Francisco loses this game at this point. You know, there's no way. They're down by 11. They need a huge play here. Even if they get the first down, they need a big play. They need like 30 yards. And they're going to try and get it. And it's incomplete. Turnover on downs, in Green Bay will be headed to the Super Bowl to play the Kansas City Chiefs in the State Farm Commercial Bowl. But if this really does happen, it'll be very interesting. I'll have to root for. I mean, it's hard to say. I think, you know, both of these teams are interesting. Aaron Rodgers has had a phenomenal career. To only have one Super Bowl ring is pretty crazy, but I think that, honestly, it makes a lot of sense if you think about not only how Aaron Rodgers is injured pretty often, he hasn't had very much defensive success, and the inconsistency issues. If you look back at a lot of Aaron Rodgers' seasons, he's had a lot of inconsistencies where some games he'll play ungodly amazing, and some games he'll throw, 3 or 4 interceptions, and he'll really, I mean, maybe not 3 or 4 interceptions, but he'll miss a lot of passes. His completion percentage will be low. He won't rely a lot on the running game, and he'll just try and do too much by himself. It makes a lot of sense why this team has only made it to one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, and to me, it's very similar to the way Brett Favre didn't really have a lot of success in terms of Super Bowl wins with Green Bay when he was there. You know, he obviously, it's a thing that happens, but it's not consistent, and it definitely shows, that this team, while very, very good, has had a lot of problems with Aaron Rodgers being at the helm. But I think this game will be interesting. The biggest thing is going to be, I don't think Green Bay has much of a chance at beating Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City football team in real life. I don't think, honestly, Green Bay is going to win this game against San Francisco. But I love watching these games, and I like commentating them. There's some pretty crazy stuff that happens, and it's really, really fascinating. But there's a play-action pass by Rodgers and touchdown to put the game out of reach as Green Bay wins it. But I don't know. I mean, it would be very fascinating if Green Bay came out here and they played like this against San Francisco and they win this game. But I just don't see it happening in real life. I think the front four for San Francisco is just too good, too overpowering. I mean, Baccarati's going to have his hands full in this game. If there's anyone that can do it, it is Baccarati. But the fact is, the rest of the offensive line is also going to have to deal with players that are really, really talented on the defensive line. The secondary is still really solid for San Francisco. Their defense played absolutely incredible against one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL last week. Minnesota have Dalvin Cook. They have Adam Thielen. They have so much talent on that team. It's absolutely incredible. And to not even allow 200 yards of total offense in that game is absolutely insane, to me. They allowed, 198 yards of total offense. That's absolutely incredible. They had by far the best defensive showing in the entire divisional round. For Green Bay, they have a pretty solid defense, and Aaron Rodgers has been playing well over the past few games. But like I said, in the last time these two teams played each other, Aaron Rodgers had to try and throw the ball way too much, and he only had 100 yards passing in that game. He had a bunch of attempts, but they couldn't throw the ball. They tried to run the ball. Their highest rusher was less than 60 yards. They couldn't run the football. They couldn't pass the football. They were just absolutely dominated and only scored 8 points. Now, I don't think they're going to get completely destroyed. I think this game is going to be close. In fact, I'd be willing to say, at 7.5 points, I think it's going to be around there. I really do. I think it's going to be, I think maybe they lose by 9 or 10. Maybe they, get closer and only lose by 4. I'm not entirely sure. It's a very, very tough thing, but I don't think, I think that San Francisco plays the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But in our simulation, Green Bay. So let's talk about since we're doing our simulation, Green Bay plays Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I think Kansas City would probably be 10-point favorites or so in that game. We're talking probably one of the biggest, because they're 7.5-point favorites against the team that's second in terms of odds to win the Super Bowl. To me, the team that would, it depends a lot on how this game against Tennessee goes, but I think going into this game, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers would be, maybe 8 or 9 point underdogs against Kansas City. And I think that's fair. I think Kansas City actually covers that spread. I think Kansas City against Green Bay would probably be able to win by about maybe even up by 2 touchdowns in that one. And I think Kansas City would win that. Now, I think San Francisco wins this game. In real life, if San Francisco wins this game against them and plays Kansas City, I think San Francisco gives them a lot tougher of a challenge. I think this defense is so talented. Richard Sherman, out of all the people to cover Tyreek Hill, Richard Sherman's one of the best people to do it. I don't know how effective he'll be because that is such a tough matchup, and Tyreek Hill is just so fast. I still think Kansas City beats San Francisco, but I think that game would be a lot closer. Maybe a touchdown towards the end of the game, something along those lines. Now, if we go crazy here and say Tennessee pulls the upset and they play San Francisco, I think Tennessee can beat Green Bay. We'll start with that. I think Tennessee can beat Green Bay. I do think, earlier I was talking about the playoff odds, and I was shocked that the Green Bay Packers were 4th, meaning they had a lower chance of winning the Super Bowl than the Titans do. And to me, I think the Tennessee Titans and the way that they play football is a good matchup for Green Bay's defense. And I think that if the Tennessee Titans were to pull the massive upset, the unbelievably huge upset against the Kansas City Chiefs and go to the Super Bowl, I think they beat Green Bay if both of the underdogs win. That would be shocking, but it would be pretty crazy. And then last thought, San Francisco, I think, would beat Tennessee in a very close game, maybe like a 3 or 4 point game. But I think San Francisco would win in that situation. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. As according to our Madden simulation, the Green Bay Packers will play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, as the 2 seeds will play each other in the Super Bowl. So thank you guys so much for coming out. We really do appreciate you. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Let me know in the comments section what do you guys want to see from these from this in the future. Right now, all we have is the Super Bowl, our last video of the playoff simulation. What do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see me do some sort of franchise mode? Do you guys want to see me do some sort of all-time team tournament thing? What do you guys want to see more of from this channel? Let me know in the comment section. Of course, like and subscribe if you have not done so already for future Madden content, as well as other stuff that we have on the channel. And with that being said, we'll see ya for Super Bowl 54.